Wool has been used by humans for centuries. It's a durable, versatile fiber that keeps us warm in the winter and wicks away sweat in the summer. But the next time you pull that sweater over your head or put on those cozy socks, think for a moment about what it took to collect all that fluffy fleece.
We're here at ASREC at Purdue University. That's the Animal Sciences Research and Education Center. They have the sheep unit here, which is Purdue sheep used for research and education.
And today's education comes courtesy of the Indiana Sheep Association. They've brought together a group of sheep experts to teach willing students the age-old craft of sheep shearing.
The Indiana Sheep Association holds events like these because in Indiana there's not a lot of sheep shearers around. It's kind of a nationwide shortage, but especially in the Midwest, we don't have a lot of people who know how to shear sheep. And every sheep with wool needs to be shorn every single year. If you don't shear sheep, it's a problem for the sheep and for you trying to manage that sheep. So it needs to come off, and people need to be able to know how to do that, and there are very few that do.
While there are tens of thousands of sheep in the state of Indiana, there are only a handful of professional shearers, making it a vanishingly scarce skill.
Well, I think the reason there's not as many of them is just because literally the skill, like something like this is one of the only ways to learn how to shear. Also, there's been popularity in hair breeds, so sheep that you don't actually have to shear. And there's just fewer and fewer people who know how to do it to teach the next generation.
But there may be other reasons for the sheep shearer shortage.
I mean, it is a back-breaking job. There's not a harder job in the world than shearing sheep. I mean, you got to have some tenacity to stay with it. But if you want to do it, basically you just got to shear more sheep. I mean, that's the way you get better at it, by just doing it more, is all. So, and the more you do, the better you get. I mean, it's kind of like anything else.
So how do you go about shearing a sheep exactly?
Well, it's not a real complicated process. People think that you use your hands a lot, which you do use your hands because you're obviously moving the sheep around and so forth, but you hold them with your legs. I heard a guy say one time, if you're shearing properly, at any time somebody could say, hey, while you're shearing, and you ought to be able to bring both your hands up and still keep a hold of the sheep.
And it's that practical, time-tested advice that can be invaluable to someone new to raising sheep, or for those who only manage a small flock.
So the reason I wanted to come out and shear sheep today was because I work at a historical nonprofit farm.
That would be the farm at Prophetstown State Park, which we highly recommend.
And we have 3 sheep, and we decided that instead of hiring somebody, we felt like we wanted our staff to learn how to do it ourselves, and this opportunity came up and all 3 signed up. I was, very surprised that kind of the way their bodies can rotate, and that the fact that, it's really hard to hurt them, even though the positions they're in do kind of look like it could be painful, but it's really just, we're not sheep, so I definitely learned that today. I learned a little more about sheep anatomy as well.
Now you may be thinking at this point, this looks a little rough.
Okay. Well, what I tell people is there is no way that if you shear sheep, that you're not occasionally going to cut them. Sometimes they get cut. They may bleed a little, but it doesn't really hurt. And we have to shear them. I mean, if we don't, they're going to be miserable. Trust me, they would much rather get cut a couple times than they would carry that wool around for 5 or 6 years, because I've sheared some like that, and oh my goodness, they're just miserable.
At the end of the day, the sheep are shorn and headed back out to pasture while the wool is collected for composting. And these students are a few sheep closer to becoming master shearers.
So the goal here is hopefully a professional shearer will come out of this. If not, we hope people will shear their own sheep. That'll take some pressure off of the professional shearers. And if that's not even the case, they'll learn to respect their shearer, because it is an extremely hard and strenuous job.